Book 4, Part 2, The Odyssey. Thus to the goddess mild my suit I end, then she, obedient to my rule, attend. When through the zone of heaven the mounted sun hath journeyed half, and half remain to run, the seer, while zephyrs curl the swelling deep, basks on the breezy shore in grateful sleep. His oozy limbs emerging from the wave, the forecast swift surround his rocky cave. Frequent and full the consecrated train of her whose azure trident awes the main. There, wallowing warm, the enormous herd exhales an oily steam and taints the noontide gales. To that recess, commodious for surprise, when purple light shall next suffuse the skies, with me repair, and from thy warrior band 3 chosen chiefs of dauntless soul command. Let their auxiliar force befriend the toil, for strong the god and perfected in guile. Stretched on the shelly shore, he first surveys the flouncing herd ascending from the seas. Their number summed, reposed in sleep profound, the scaly charge their guardian gods surround. So with his battening flocks the careful swain abides pavilioned on the grassy plain. With powers united, obstinately bold, invade him, couched amid the scaly fold. Instant he wears elusive of the rape, the mimic force of every savage shape, or glides with liquid laps a murmuring stream, or wrapped in flame he glows at every limb. Yet still retentive with redoubled might, through each vain passive form constrain his flight. But when his native shape renamed he stands, patient of conquest and your cause demands, the cause that urged the bold attempt declare, and soothe the vanquished with a victor's prayer. The bands released implore the seer to say, what godhead interdicts the watery way? Who, straight propitious in prophetic strain, will teach you to repass the unmeasured main? She ceased, and bounding from the shelfy shore, round the descending nymph the waves' resounding roar. High wrapped in wonder of the future deed, with joy impetuous to the port I speed. The wants of nature with repast suffice, till night with grateful shade involved the skies, and shed ambrosial dews fast by the deep, along the tented shore in balmy sleep. Our cares were lost when o'er the eastern lawn, in saffron robes, the daughter of the dawn advanced her rosy steps before the bay. Due ritual honors to the gods I pay. Then seek the place the sea-born nymph assigned, with 3 associates of undaunted mind, arrived to form along the appointed strand. For each a bed she scoops the hilly sand. Then from her azure cave the finny spoils of 4 vast phocae takes to veil her wiles. Beneath the finny spoils extended prone, hard toil the prophet's piercing eye to shun. New from the course the scaly frauds diffuse, unsavory stench of oil and brackish ooze. But the bright sea maid's gentle power implored, with nectar drops the sickening sense restored. Thus, till the sun had traveled half the skies, ambushed we lie, and wait the bold emprise, when, thronging quick to bask in open air, the flocks of ocean to the strand repair. Couched on the sunny sand the monsters sleep. Then Proteus, mounting from the hoary deep, surveys his charge, unknowing of deceit. In order told, we make the sum complete. Pleased with the false review, secure he lies, and leaden slumbers press his drooping eyes. Rushing impetuous forth, we straight prepare a furious onset with the sound of war. And shouting sees the god our force to evade, his various arts he soon resumes in aid. A lion now he curls a surgy mane, sudden our hands a spotted pard restrain. Then, armed with tusks and lightning in his eyes, a boar's obscener shape the god belies. On spiry volumes there a dragon rides, here from our strict embrace a stream he glides. At last, sublime his stately growth he rears, a tree, and well dissembled foliage wears. Vain efforts with superior power compressed, me with reluctance thus the seer addressed. Say, son of Atreus, say what god inspired this daring fraud, and what the boon desired? I thus, O thou, whose certain eye foresees the fixed event of fate's remote decrees, after long woes and various toil endured, still on this desert isle my fleet is moored. Unfriended of the gales, all-knowing, say, what godhead interdicts the watery way? What vows repentant will the power appease to speed a prosperous voyage o'er the seas? To Jove, with stern regard, the god replies, and all the offended synod of the skies, just hecatombs with due devotion slain, thy guilt absolved, a prosperous voyage gain. To the firm sanction of thy fate attend, an exile thou, nor cheering face of friend, nor sight of natal shore, nor regal doom, shalt yet enjoy, but still art doomed to roam. Once more the Nile, who from the secret source of Jove's high seat descends with sweepy force, must view his billows with white beneath thy oar, and altars blaze along his sanguine shore. Then will the gods with holy pomp adored to thy long vows a safe return accord. He ceased, heart wounded with afflictive pain, doomed to repeat the perils of the main, a shelfy track and long. O seer, I cry, to the stern sanction of the offended sky my prompt obedience bows. But deign to say what fate propitious or what dire dismay sustain those peers, the relics of our host, whom I with Nestor on the Phrygian coast, embracing, left. Must I the warriors weep, whelmed in the bottom of the monstrous deep? Or did the kind domestic friend deplore the breathless heroes on their native shore? Press not too far, replied the god, but cease to know what, known, will violate thy peace. Too curious of their doom, with friendly woe, thy breast will heave, and tears eternal flow. Part live, the rest a lamentable train, range the dark bounds of Pluto's dreary reign. Two foremost, in the roll of Mars renowned, whose arms with conquest in thy cause were crowned, fell by disastrous fate, by tempests tossed. A third lives wretched on a distant coast, by Neptune rescued from Minerva's hate, on Gyrae safe Oilean Ajax sate. His ship o'erwhelmed, but frowning on the floods, impious he roared defiance to the gods. To his own prowess all the glory gave, the power defrauding who vouchsafed to save. This heard the raging ruler of the main, his spear indignant for such high disdain. He launched, dividing with his forky mace the aerial summit from the marble base. The rock rushed seaward with impetuous roar, engulfed, and to the abyss the boaster bore. By Juno's guardian aid, the watery vast, secure of storms, your royal brother passed, till coasting nigh the cape where Malin shrouds her spiry cliffs amid surrounding clouds, a whirling gust tumultuous from the shore across the deep his laboring vessel bore. In an ill-fated hour the coast he gained, where late in regal pomp Thyestes reigned. But when his hoary honors bowed to fate, Aegisthus governed in paternal state, the surges now subside, the tempest ends, from his tall ship the king of men descends. There fondly thinks the gods conclude his toil, far from his own domain salutes the soil. With rapture oft the verge of Greece reviews, and the dear turf with tears of joy bedews. Him thus exulting on the distant stand, a spy distinguished from his airy stand, to bribe whose vigilance Aegisthus told a mighty sum of ill-persuading gold. There watched this guardian of his guilty fear, till the 12th moon had wheeled her pale career, and now, admonished by his eye to court, with terror winged conveys the dread report. Of deathful arts expert his lord employs, the ministers of blood in dark surprise. And 20 youths, in radiant mail encased, close ambush nigh the spacious hall he placed. Then bids prepare the hospitable treat, vain shows of love to veil his felon hate. To grace the victors welcome from the wars, a train of coursers and triumphal cars. Magnificent he leads, the royal guest, thoughtless of ills, accepts the fraudful feast. The troop forth issuing from the dark recess, with homicidal rage the king oppress. So, whilst he feeds luxurious in the stall, the sovereign of the herd is doomed to fall. The partners of his fame and toils at Troy, around their lord a mighty ruin lie. Mixed with the brave, the base invaders bleed. Aegisthus' soul survives to boast the deed. He said, chill horrors shook my shivering soul, racked with convulsive pangs in dust I roll, and hate in madness of extreme despair, to view the sun or breathe the vital air. But when, superior to the rage of woe, I stood restored and tears had ceased to flow, lenient of grief, the pitying God began, forget the brother and resume the man. To fate's supreme dispose, the dead resign, that care be fate's, a speedy passage thine. Still lives the wretch who wrought the death deplored, but lives a victim for thy vengeful sword. Unless with filial rage Orestes glow, and swift prevent the meditated blow, you timely will return a welcome guest, with him to share the sad funereal feast. He said, new thoughts my beating heart employ, my gloomy soul receives a gleam of joy. Fair hope revives, and eager I addressed the prescient Godhead to reveal the rest. The doom decreed of those disastrous two, I've heard with pain, but oh, the tale pursue. What third brave son of Mars the fates constrain to roam the howling desert of the main, or in eternal shade of cold he lies, provoke new sorrows from these grateful eyes. That chief, rejoined the god, his race derives from Ithaca, and wondrous woes survives. Laertes' son, girt with circumfluous tides, he still calamitous constraint abides. Him in Calypso's cave of late I viewed, when streaming grief his faded cheek bedowed. But vain his prayer, his arts are vain to move the enamored goddess or elude her love. His vessel sunk, and dear companions lost. He lives reluctant on a foreign coast. But oh, beloved by heaven, reserved to thee a happier lot, the smiling fates decree. Free from that law beneath whose mortal sway matter is changed and varying forms decay. Elysium shall be thine, the blissful plains of utmost earth, where Rhadamanthus reigns. Joys ever young, unmixed with pain or fear, fill the wide circle of the eternal year. Stern winter smiles on that auspicious clime. The fields are florid with unfading prime. From the bleak pole no winds inclement blow, mold the round hail, or flake the fleecy snow. But from the breezy deep the blessed inhale the fragrant murmurs of the western gale. This grace peculiar will the gods afford to thee, the son of Jove, and beauteous Helen's lord. He ceased, and plunging in the vast profound, beneath the god and whirling billows round, then speeding back, involved in various thought, my friends attending at the shore I sought. Arrived, the rage of hunger we control, till night with silent shade invests the pole, then lose the cares of life in pleasing rest, soon as the morn reveals the roseate east. With sails we wing the masts, our anchors weigh, unmoor the fleet, and rush into the sea. Ranged on the banks beneath our equal oars, white curl the waves, and the vexed ocean roars. Then, steering backward from the Pharian isle, we gain the stream of Jove-descended Nile. There quit the ships, and on the destined shore, with ritual hecatombs the gods adore. Their wrath atoned to Agamemnon's name, a cenotaph I raise of deathless fame. These rites to piety and grief discharged, the friendly gods a springing gale enlarged. The fleet swift tilting o'er the surges flew, till Grecian cliffs appeared a blissful view. Thy patient ear hath heard me long relate a story fruitful of disastrous fate. And now, young prince, indulge my fond request, be Sparta honored with his royal guest, till from his eastern goal the joyous sun his 12th diurnal race begins to run. Meantime my train the friendly gifts prepare, the sprightly coursers and a polished car, with these a goblet of capacious mold, figured with art to dignify the gold, formed for libation to the gods, shall prove a pledge and monument of sacred love. My quick return, young Ithacus rejoined, damps the warm wishes of my raptured mind. Did not my fate my needful haste constrain? Charmed by your speech so graceful and humane, lost in delight the circling year would roll, while deep attention fixed my listening soul. But now to pile permit my destined way, my loved associates chide my long delay. In dear remembrance of your royal grace, I take the present of the promised vase. The coursers for the coursers for the champagne sports retain. That gift our barren rocks will render vain. Horrid with cliffs our meager land allows thin herbage for the mountain goat to browse, but neither mead nor plain supplies to feed the sprightly courser or indulge his speed. To sea-surrounded realms the gods assign small tracts of fertile land, the least to mine. His hand the king with tender passion pressed, and smiling, thus the royal youth addressed. O early worth, a soul so wise and young proclaims you from the sage Ulysses sprung. Selected from my stores of matchless price, an urn shall recompense your prudent choice. By Vulcan's art, the verge with gold enchased, a pledge the sceptred power of Sidon gave, when to his realm I plowed the orient wave. Thus they alternate, while, with artful care, the menial train the regal feast prepare. The firstlings of the flock are doomed to die. Rich, fragrant wines the cheering bowl supply. A female band the gift of Ceres bring, and the gilt roofs with genial triumph ring. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, the suitor powers in active games divide their jovial hours. In areas varied with mosaic art, some whirl the disc, and some the javelin dart. Aside, sequestered from the vast resort, Antinous, sole spectator of the sport, with great Eurymachus, of worth confessed, and high descent superior to the rest, whom young Noemon lowly thus addressed. My ship equipped within the neighboring port, the prince departing for the Pylian court, requested for his speed, but courteous say, when steers he home, or why this long delay? For Elis I should sail with utmost speed, to import 12 mares, which there luxurious feed, and 12 young mules, a strong laborious race, new to the plow, unpracticed in the trace. Unknowing of the course to pile designed, a sudden horror seized on either mind. The prince in rural bower they fondly thought, numbering his flocks and herds not far remote. Relate, Antinous cries, devoid of guile, when spread the prince his sail for distant spot pile. Did chosen chiefs across the gulfy main attend his voyage or domestic train? Spontaneous did you speed his secret course, or was the vessel seized by fraud or force? With willing duty, not reluctant mind, Noemon cried. The vessel was resigned, who, in the balance, with the great affairs of courts presume to weigh their private cares. With him, the peerage next in power to you, and mentor, captain of the lordly crew, or some celestial in his reverend form, safe from the secret rock and adverse storm, pilots the course, for when the glimmering ray of yesterdawn disclosed the tender day. Mentor himself I saw, and much admired, then ceased the youth, and from the court retired. Confounded and appalled the unfinished game, the suitors quit, and all to council came. Antinous first the assembled peers addressed, rage sparkling in his eyes and burning in his breast. O shame to manhood, shall one daring boy the scheme of all our happiness destroy? Fly unperceived, seducing half the flower of nobles, and invite a foreign power? The ponderous engine raised to crush us all, recoiling on his head, is sure to fall. instant prepare me on the neighboring strand, with 20 chosen mates a vessel manned. For ambushed close beneath the Samian shore, his ship returning shall my spies explore. He soon his rashness shall with life atone, seek for his father's fate, but find his own. With vast applause the sentence all approve, then rise and to the feastful hall remove. Swift to the queen the herald Medon ran, who heard the consult of the dire divan. Before her dome the royal matron stands, and thus the message of his haste demands. What will the suitors? Must my servant train, the allotted labors of the day refrain, for them to form some exquisite repast? Heaven grant this festival may prove their last, or, if they still must live, from me remove the double plague of luxury and love. Forbear, ye sons of insolence, forbear, in riot to consume a wretched heir. In the young soul illustrious thought to raise, were ye not tutored with Ulysses' praise? Have not your fathers oft my lord defined, gentle of speech, beneficent of mind? Some kings with arbitrary rage devour, or in their tyrant minions vest the power. Ulysses let no partial favors fall, the people's parent, he protected all. But absent now, perfidious and ingrate, he stores ye ravage and usurp his state. He thus, Oh, were the woes you speak the worst, they form a deed more odious and accursed, more dreadful than your boding soul divines, but pitying Jove, avert the dire designs. The darling object of your royal care is marked to perish in a deathful snare, before he anchors in his native port, from Pyle re-sailing and the Spartan court. Horrid to speak, an ambush is decreed, the hope and heir of Ithaca to bleed. Sudden she sunk beneath the weighty woes, the vital streams a chilling horror froze. The big round tear stands trembling in her eye, and on her tongue imperfect accents die. At length, in tender language interwove, with sighs she thus expressed her anxious love. Why rarely would my son his fate explore, ride the wild waves and quit the safer shore? Did he, with all the greatly wretched, crave a blank oblivion and untimely grave? "'Tis not," replied the sage, "to Medon given to know if some inhabitant of heaven in his young breast the daring thought inspired, or if alone with filial duty fired the winds and waves he tempts in early bloom, studious to learn his absent father's doom." The sage retired, unable to control the mighty griefs that swell her laboring soul. Rolling convulsive on the floor is seen the piteous object of a prostrate queen. Words to her dumb complaint a pause supplies, and breath to waste in unavailing cries. Around their sovereign wept the menial fair, to whom she thus addressed her deep despair. "Behold, a wretch whom all the gods consign to woe. Did ever sorrows equal mine? Long to my joys, my dearest lord is lost, his country's buckler and the Grecian boast. Now from my fond embrace, by tempests torn, our other column of the state is born. Nor took a kind adieu, nor sought consent, unkind confederates in his dire intent. Ill suits it with your shows of duteous zeal, from me the purposed voyage to conceal. Though at the solemn midnight hour he rose, why did you fear to trouble my repose? He either had obeyed my fond desire, or seen his mother pierced with grief expire. Bid Dolius quick attend the faithful slave, whom to my nuptial train Icarius gave, to tend the fruit groves with incessant speed. He shall this violence of death decreed to good Laertes tell, experienced age may timely intercept the ruffian rage. Convene the tribes, the murderous plot reveal, and to their power to save his race appeal. Then Euryclea thus: My dearest lord, though to the sword I bow this hoary deed, or if a dungeon be the pain decreed, I owe me conscious of the unpleasing deed. Auxiliar to his flight my aid implored, with wine and viands I the vessel stored, a solemn oath imposed, the secret sealed, till the 12th dawn the light of day revealed. Dreading the effect of a fond mother's fear, he dared not violate your royal ear, but bathe, and in imperial robes arrayed, pay due devotions to the martial maid, and rest affianced in her guardian aid. Send not to good Laertes, nor engage in toils of state the miseries of age. 'Tis impious to surmise the powers divine, to ruin, doom the Jove-descended line. Long shall the race of just Arcesius reign, and isles remote enlarge his old domain. The queen her speech with calm attention hears, her eyes restrain the silver streaming tears. She bathes, and robed the sacred dome ascends, her pious speed a female train attends. The salted cakes in canisters are laid, and thus the queen invokes Minerva's aid. Daughter divine of Jove, whose arm can wield the avenging bolt and shake the dreadful shield, if e'er Ulysses to thy fane preferred the best and choicest of his flock and herd, hear, goddess, hear, by those oblations won, and for the pious sire preserve the son. His wished return with happy power befriend, and on the suitors let thy wrath descend. She ceased. Shrill ecstasies of joy declare the favoring goddess present to the prayer. The suitors heard, and deemed the mirthful voice a signal of her hymeneal choice. Whilst one most jovial thus accosts the board: Too late the queen selects a second lord, in evil hour the nuptial rite intends, when o'er her son disastrous death impends. Thus he, unskilled of what the fates provide, but with severe rebuke Antinous cried: These empty vaunts will make the voyage vain. Alarm not with discourse the menial train. The great event with silent hope attend. Our deeds alone our counsel must commend. His speech thus ended short, he frowning rose, and 20 chiefs renowned for valor chose. Down to the strand he speeds with haughty strides, where anchored in the bay the vessel rides, replete with mail and military store, in all her tackle trim to quit the shore. The desperate crew ascends, unfurl the sails, the seaward prow invites the tardy gales. Then take repast, till Hesperus displayed his golden circlet in the western shade. Meantime the queen without reflection due, heart wounded, to the bed of state withdrew. In her sad breast the prince's fortunes roll, and hope and doubt alternate seize her soul. So when the woodman's toil her cave surrounds, and with the hunter's cry the grove resounds, with grief and rage the mother lion, stung, fearless herself, yet trembles for her young, while pensive in the silent slumberous shade, sleep's gentle powers her drooping eyes invade. Minerva, lifelike on embodied air, impressed the form of Iphthyma the fair. Icarius' daughter she, whose blooming charms allured Eumelus to her virgin arms. A sceptred lord, who o'er the fruitful plain of Thessaly wide stretched his ample reign. As Pallas willed along the sable skies to calm the queen, the phantom sister flies, swift on the regal dome descending right. The bolted valves are pervious to her flight. Close to her head the pleasing vision stands, and thus performs Minerva's high commands. Oh, why, Penelope, this causeless fear to render sleep's soft blessing unsincere? Alike devote to sorrow's dire extreme the day reflection and the midnight dream. Thy son the gods' propitious will restore, and bid thee cease his absence to deplore. To whom the queen, whilst yet in pensive mind, was in the silent gates of sleep confined. O sister, to my soul forever dear, why this first visit to reprove my fear? How, in a realm so distant, should you know from what deep source my ceaseless sorrows flow? To all my hope my royal lord is lost, his country's buckler and the Grecian boast. And with consummate woe to weigh me down, the heir of all his honors and his crown, my darling son is fled, an easy prey to the fierce storms, or men more fierce than they, who, in league of blood associates sworn, will intercept the unwary youth's return. Courage resume, the shadowy form replied. In the protecting care of heaven confide. On him attends the blue-eyed martial maid. What earthly can implore a surer aid? Me now the guardian goddess deigns to send, to bid thee patient his return attend. The queen replies, if in the blessed abodes a goddess thou hast commerce with the gods, say, breathes my lord the blissful realm of light, or lies he wrapped in ever-during night? Inquire not of his doom, the phantom cries. I speak not all the counsel of the skies, nor must indulge with vain discourse, or long the windy satisfaction of the tongue. Swift through the valves the visionary fair repassed, and viewless mixed with common air. The queen awakes, delivered of her woes. With florid joy her heart dilating glows. The vision manifest of future fate makes her with hope her son's arrival wait. Meantime the suitors plough the watery plain, Telemachus in thought already slain. When sight of lessening Ithaca was lost, their sail directed for the Samian coast. A small but verdant isle appeared in view, and Asteris, the advancing pilot, knew an ample port the rocks projected form to break the rolling waves and ruffling storm. That safe recess they gain with happy speed, and in close ambush wait the murderous deed.